Man, don't call it clickbait. It is absolutely not clickbait. This isn't clickbait. Clickbait would mean that what I'm saying is not true. Yeah. Well, let me turn that down. How's it going, everybody? I tried like three times. Okay, I tried for a little bit to find a way to talk about this, but I'm not quite sure I've got my head around it yet. And so because I don't have my head around it yet, I didn't want to put out a video. But what I will do is have an open mic where we just kind of talk about our reactions to this news. So for everybody who said that my title is clickbait, Google literally said today, we're shutting down Stadia Games and Entertainment, and they will be, redispersed throughout Google doing their own stuff or doing other things. That does not mean that Google is shutting down Stadia, but this is absolutely bad news. Now, I don't know what to think of this. The fact that Jade Raymond is leaving, like, I almost wonder, and look, I have zero inside information on this. I almost wonder if she's leaving in response to them doing this. Like, she was brought on to run Stadia Games and Entertainment, and now somehow they have some these partnerships that they're talking about, where they're going to be delivering games, whatever that means. And we'll talk about what those possibilities could be in a little bit. But like Jamin said, or Jade Raymond, maybe she said, look, if you guys aren't making first party games, I don't really have a reason to be here. I'm going to go and do something else. Or did they say, Jade Raymond, we're not going to be making first party games. You don't have a reason to be here. Go do something else. Like, I don't know what the reasoning is here. So Stadia Games and Entertainment, and thank you, Lloyd, for reminding me to say this. Stadia Games and Entertainment is the development arm of Stadia. They're the people who are making the first party games for Google Stadia, and they are shutting it down. So let's actually look. I probably have to fix Edge. Hold on. I got to fix something. And show. There we go. So turn that music down. So right here, it says, where is it? Creating the best in-class games from the ground up takes many years and significant investment, and the cost is going up exponentially. Given our focus on building on the proven technology of Stadia, as well as deepening our business partnerships, and I think that part right there, this part right here, deepening our, here, let me remove all of that. How do I do that? I want to get rid of my notes. I don't want this. There we go. Right here, deepening our business partnerships. That part right there, I think, is really, really important. But anyway, they go on to say, we've decided that we will not be further investing. Will not be investing further into bringing exclusive content from our internal development team, Stadia Games and Entertainment, beyond any near-term planned games. With the increased focus on our technology, blah, 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 over the coming months, Stadia Games and Entertainment will be moving on to new roles. So, look, it seems like most people are still going to have their jobs, but they're going to be different jobs. And those jobs won't be developing games, first-party games for Stadia. Yeah, we don't need to kick everybody. I don't even know what's happening in chat. But look, here's what I'm thinking. First off, this first sentence, creating best in-class games from the ground up takes many years and significant investment. No duh. Everybody friggin' knew that. Everyone knows that. I've been saying this since GDC, that it takes a really long time to make games. And because it takes so long to make games, we're not going to see the fruits of their labor for an exceedingly long time. I've been saying that forever. This is not news to them. Why they're acting like it's news to them, I don't know. And that really does tick me off. Like that makes me mad. Because it's not like that they started making games and they're like, wow, who knew that making games was difficult? Who knew that making games was time consuming? Like, that ticks me off about this. But they have other things that they've said in here that I think are very, very interesting. And I'll get to the super chats in a little bit. So in here, they said in 2021, let me bring this back up on screen. In 2021, we're expanding our efforts to help game developers and publishers take advantage of our platform technology and deliver games directly to their players. That directly to their players thing is extremely interesting. By saying delivering their games directly to their players, it feels like, and I could be wrong about this, but it feels like that's the kind of thing that we're seeing with Control on the Nintendo Switch, Resident Evil 7 on the Nintendo Switch. That is a publisher delivering their game directly to the customer by selling it through a streaming, like through a dumb client that just allows the streaming to go through. Which means that, I don't know. And look, I'm still digesting this information. I haven't had more than 15 minutes to really think about it. And because I haven't really thought about it all that much, I'm sure that my opinion on this is going to change. Lloyd is texting me. But I think, what if they're going to deliver Stadia games, or not Stadia games, but games to other platforms? Oh, there's a quote from Phil that was in a Kotaku article. Okay, thank you, Lloyd. All right. So here's what the quote says. The company plans to begin offering its Stadia tech to publishers, opening up the possibility for Stadia to become the streaming tech for other video game companies. That's exactly what I was just saying. Okay. Google's head of Stadia operations, longtime console executive Phil Harrison, will focus on pursuing these new partnerships. We see an important opportunity to work with partners seeking a gaming solution all built on Stadia's advanced technical infrastructure and platform tools, Harrison wrote in a blog post today. We believe this is the best path to building Stadia into a long... Oh, yeah, we already read that. That part was already in the thing. But that part there about letting the video game publishers themselves publish their streaming games, maybe that's how you get on iOS in the App Store. So you could sell Resident Evil 7 or Orcs Must Die 3. You could sell that on iOS as an individual thing, and it would have to be rated by iOS the way that Apple actually wants it. Maybe you could sell that game on the Nintendo Switch, where it wouldn't normally be able to run, but now we suddenly would be able to. I got to think of another company that's not a first party. What's a game like Madden? You could now sell Madden on the Nintendo Switch without having to do all the work to port it down to the Switch. There is no other way to describe this news other than exceedingly disappointing. And I'm ignoring chat right now. I will read that in a second. Okay, there's no other way to really describe this news other than exceedingly disappointing. The one of the reasons that I was so excited about Stadia was the idea that they could do things that you can't do on any other platform. Now, because they shut down or are shutting down Stadia Games and Entertainment, does that mean that that won't happen? No, that doesn't mean that that won't happen. But I think it's less likely. It's less likely to happen when you don't have first-party publishers pushing that forward. Because third-party publishers, while they might make a game on Stadia, they're also going to want to port that game to other platforms. And by porting that game to other platforms, that means that they can't put in any of the cloud native stuff. In lead, we clean up our language here. If you can't clean up your language, then you can leave. All right? Clean up your language here. My takeaway from this is that they recently made some serious inroads with some publishers, maybe even platform holders. And if that's true, then we could see Stadia games on other devices. When they started this, the first thing that they said is that we want to see Stadia in as many possible places that we can. We want to see it on all of the screens that we can. And I wonder if that means that we'll be able to play Stadia games on... You could maybe play Xbox games on, like Xbox Series X games on an Xbox One. Or PS5 games on a PS4. I don't know. All right, I'm going to look at the things that people were saying in super chats and stuff. I just got to bring that up because I wasn't prepared for this. All right. So let's start here. Well, first off, thank you to Christopher, Dan, Justin, and Arcane for becoming members. Ernie sent me a message. He said, clickbait. Just kidding. Thanks for the great content. Well, thank you very much for the support and to these guys for becoming members. Ernie says, of course, no one knows. But since that shut this down makes me more nervous for them, just shut it all down. Maybe not related at all, but still. I'm not really sure what you mean by that. I don't think that shutting down the first party division has anything to do. I don't think that means they're going to shut Stadia down. In fact, I really do not think that they will be shutting Stadia down. All right. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I got to turn up my fan. It's hot in here. Maybe I'm wrong about this, but I don't think that they're going to be shutting Stadia down. But I didn't think that they'd shut down the first party games before we even got a first party game. Ridiculous. Gaming Advocate, he sent in a super chat. He says, exactly what you and Lloyd said is the takeaway I took from Phil. They will move to lease the tech out versus competing as a platform. Keep up the great work, Chase. Oh, thanks, Chase. So the headlines everywhere are going to be, it's the end for Stadia, blah, blah, blah. And I do not think that that's the takeaway. I am incredibly disappointed about this, though. And obviously, Lloyd and I are going to have a long discussion about this on Sunday. We may have to do something before then. I don't know. No, Grace is not gone. I spoke to her last week. I'm wrong. Stadia is dead. I disagree. But you know what? It's the internet. Holy cow. It's the internet. We can disagree. That's okay. Her Twitter is deleted? No way. Really? No, I'm not going to check right now. But wasn't that her Twitter? Quick ask future Bill. Oh yeah. Just a second. Let me ask future Bill. Filters. LumaKey. Let's see. All right. Future Bill here. Everything's wonderful and everything's fine. There we go. Hey, what do you guys think of this look? This looks cool. This looks real. I'm going to leave it like this for a little bit. Oh, yeah. Joel Mead, that's a really good point. I bet you she was getting a bunch of people bugging her. And so she was like, I'm out. Shut down the Twitter. I can open up a new Twitter if I need to. My guess, what we will probably see from this, is this in color at all? A little bit's in color. What we'll probably see from this is, I really do think that this is them being a streaming port house. I don't like that. I like that it was its own platform. And it can still be its own platform, but only time's going to tell. And yeah, Ruben's probably correct. She was probably getting a billion DMs. Paul Connor says, I'm scared about the future of Stadia. There's no, look, I'm going to tell you something that I've said to people before. Some people take offense when I say this kind of thing, but please don't. Don't worry. Worrying does absolutely nothing for you. Okay? Whenever I'm worried about something, I ask myself, well, question. And this is a very important question. Here's the question. Can I do anything about it? If the answer is yes, then I shut up and I do whatever I need to do. If the answer is no, then, if the answer is yes, I shut up, I do what I need to do, and then I can stop worrying. If the answer is no, then there's nothing that I can do that can affect it, so I stop worrying because I cannot affect it. So don't worry about the future of Stadia. Don't worry about it. Sofa Spy sent in a super chat. Thank you very much. He says, another way to interpret it, since they focus so much on in-house studios, is that they will only partner with third party for Stadia exclusives instead of in-house. As another theory, are you saying that they would only let games be on the platform if they were exclusives to Stadia? Almost nobody would sign up for that. Let me turn off this filter. All right, we'll go back to color. Press start once says, I'm certainly done spending money on Stadia. I do not trust Google at all, and today's news confirms that. David K., the amount of money that they invested into this means that they probably haven't made any money from it yet. Now, they're going to make money from this. I do believe that they will make money from this, but they haven't made any money yet because of all the money that they had to spend on it. That's just my opinion, though. Steve Daly says, I think what they meant to say is that Google will partner with third-party studios to make Stadia exclusive. I do think that that's a possibility. It is certainly a possibility that Stadia will say, all right, we can bring your third-party games to Stadia. And you can put them on other platforms if you want, but if you want to make it an exclusive, we will help you make it an exclusive. We will help you with all of the heavy lifting because we know the tech better than anybody else because we made it. Frederick Lawrence says maybe they're preparing for a big studio buy. I don't think so. In fact, I don't think that that's the solution. That's the solution a lot of people are always asking for, is like, I want this company to buy that company. Having companies buying each other is actually a bad thing. Like when Microsoft bought Bethesda, I wasn't happy about it. I still think that Microsoft will bring Bethesda games to other platforms, but I'm not happy about it. I would prefer if Bethesda was a third party doing their own thing. Eric Dvorsky says, not gonna lie, I'd be ecstatic at Steam or Epic and Stadia. And honestly, I don't think that would be a problem for me either. But I don't know. Is it possible that another platform holder and Stadia have come to some kind of agreement? That's possible. I don't know, though. Man, there's so many really long comments in chat. I can't keep up because every time I get halfway through reading a comment, it moves. Stupid Rabbit says, hey, Bill, do you think that it's going to affect developers' willingness to invest time in creating Stadia versions going forward? I don't think so. Because it still offers those publishers something that they don't already have, and that's access to a bunch of customers that don't currently have a box under the TV that can run all of those games. I was just checking my email real quick to see. I just got an email, but it's not from Stadia. That's why I stopped talking, is because I got an email and I wanted to see who it was from. It's not from Stadia. Michael Mooney says, I wonder if Google got outbid for a major publisher they needed or have done deals to have publisher-fronted versions of Stadia. I think the second option in that preposition is more likely. I think it's much more likely that they've made some deals with some publishers, and those publishers are like, well, look, we want to use Stadia tech. We know that it works. We want to use Stadia tech to bring games to Nintendo. Nintendo won't let you put a store on their platform, but they'll let us sell a game on their platform using your tech. And I think that that's a possibility. I think that's a real possibility. There is a possibility here that we could see the Nintendo Switch become a real contender when it comes to keeping up with the Joneses as far as power goes. Not because they're increasing the hardware, but because they're going to use the software or the streaming. That's a possibility. It's a possibility that your Xbox One or your PS4 could become an Xbox Series X or PS5 via streaming. You know what I mean? And they use Stadia's back end to do that kind of thing. That's a possibility. Let's see what else we got here. Jacob Dickens sent in a super chat. They said, by the way, thank you, Michael Mooney. I don't know if I said thank you. Jacob says, the promise of huge, awesome exclusive kept me on the bandwagon. I just got dysentery. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. When you are looking at Stadia, one of the reasons that I was so excited was for those first party games that could only be done in the cloud. Not excuse me, I'm drinking soda, I had a burp. I don't want exclusives for the sake of being an exclusive because somebody, took a bag full of money and handed it over. I want exclusives because you can't do that on another platform. And that's still a possibility. I do think that the possibility is less now that Stadia isn't going to be continuing working on their first party games. Astro Josh says, what tech does Hitman 3 use for the cloud version on Switch? I have no idea. I don't think that they've said. Yeah, and SofaSpy is saying another theory, this has to do with Project Hailstorm and bringing Stadia to every platform. Again, that's the kind of thing that I've been saying all, like, the whole stream. But again, I haven't really had time to think about this. Lloyd Hannison, my very good friend, he says the main takeaway here is making games is hard. Amazon has failed multiple times, as has Stadia apparently. And yes, I do agree with that. Making games is hard. The very beginning of this phrasing here, the very beginning, where is it? Right here. The very beginning of this paragraph. This paragraph pisses me off. Like, it makes me mad. It says, creating best in-class games from the ground up takes many years and significant investment. What a shocker. Everybody knows this. Phil Harrison knows this. You know how he knows it? Because he's been making video games for a really long time. I feel like that beginning to that sentence right there, that sentence right there is so condescending, in my opinion, because it expects me to think that, oh, geez, I never thought of that. Everybody knew that. Everybody knew that, Phil. Everybody. I know people are probably mad that I swore. I bleeped it out. Did I bleep it out? I hope I bleeped it out. I think I did. Dante Armstrong sends in a $5 super chat. Thank you, SofaSpy. I don't know if I said thank you. They already have said they're looking for games beyond 2023, so I'm not worried about new games. Hope this blog post means a deal with a big partner. That's another way to look at it. Cedric, I do think that sentence is explaining it, but it kind of feels like he's trying to say, hey, it feels like he's saying we had no idea how hard it was. I bleeped it out. Thanks, Vicky. Thanks, Joel Mead. I don't know, man. Look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this is great news. Nobody knows what kind of news this is. It's big news. It's 100% big news. And it's either good news or bad news, and only time is going to tell. My hope is that you will be able to play Stadia games through a browser, and that means maybe I'll be able to play Nintendo games in a browser. Maybe I'll be able to play Xbox games. Well, okay, we'll never get Nintendo. Maybe I'll be able to play Xbox games in a browser or PlayStation games. All in a browser without having to buy a box. Stadia showed that they can do it, and they did it really, really well. I don't think that Stadia is shutting down. No matter what anybody else says, you're going to see that as a million headlines. That Stadia is dead. RIP Stadia. You're going to see that in a million headlines. I don't believe that for a second. Sean Grace, thanks for jumping on and discussing this with us, Bill. I tried to make a video. I recorded the beginning like a couple of I recorded the beginning a couple of times, but I couldn't figure out how to say it. So Spasmodic 76. Just because you spent money on the platform, look, you still have the things that you bought. You can still play them. They're shutting down the first party development studios. Jerome, you know what? I should post a link to this in the this is what we're discussing. Look in the description down below. Right there. If you refresh and look in the description down below, it's going to take you to exactly what we're talking about. Kessel Runner says, good news for the short term to refocus resources to bringing more games. Bad news for Stadia becoming a bona fide platform like PlayStation or Xbox, at least for the time being. Right. Google is not being a game developer anymore. My guess is that everybody that works at SG&E, like their job is going to be to help third parties port their games to Stadia. That's my guess. Ross Mallon sent in a super chat for $4. Thank you very much for the support. Yeah, they're not shutting down Stadia. They're just not making their own games, which, in my opinion, is a huge mistake. And it's like they're throwing away the money that they have invested in making those first-party games so far. If the hundreds of employees are being repurposed to assist with porting, that's a great thing. I can't see that being creatively expressive enough for the rock stars, so they will move on, no doubt. And while you're right, they probably will move on. They will also move on to other platforms, other companies, and they will bring the knowledge of being able to make games that work on Stadia with them. And they'll be able to teach people how to do that, and they'll probably be bringing their games to Stadia. Are there any Stadia exclusives now? Krata? Well, Krata's coming out on PC. Orcs Must Die 3 is still a Stadia exclusive. Guilt is a Stadia exclusive. That's just off the top of my head. And Night Razor, that's the same way that I feel. I was really like one of the things about Stadia that I was excited for is the cloud native stuff. And I feel like it's much less likely for that cloud native stuff to happen if we're not doing first party stuff. Yep. And UI method is correct. Google is not shutting down Stadia. They are shutting down Stadia Games and Entertainment, their development house. Outcasters. Thank you, Preston. Lloyd. Yeah, I don't care about losing exclusives. I care about losing the cloud native games. Hey, since you guys are all here hanging out with me, could you do me a favor and click on the thumbs up button and then click on the subscribe button if you haven't already, and then click on the bell so you get notified whenever we post new videos. Gustavo says, "Hey Bill, I'm just tuning in. My goodness, this is going to be spun as horrible news, potentially slowing down the momentum of the new user acquisition. Agree or disagree? Love the show." I agree. This will absolutely make. Hey there, Gucci. First off, I hate your name. I don't know if you're one of them guys. But secondly, don't swear. Don't swear in my chat. Now I forgot what I was saying. Oh yes, this is going to be spun really bad. Really bad. And it will hurt it will definitely hurt the momentum that Stadia has built with like Cyberpunk 2077 and Madden. No worries, just don't swear. Yes, more of a Versace guy. Yeah. That's too funny. Riker, that's hilarious, man. I got to turn the fan up. I keep having to adjust the fan. My temperature's going all over the place. Cedric Crenshaw sent in a super chat. He said, with Cyberpunk 2070, with Cyberpunk's success, Hitman exclusive feature success, and Ubisoft support and exclusive feature success, and no one biting on SG&E games, all signs point to third parties to them. You know, that's a really good point. Like, people didn't buy a bunch of Orcs Must Die. People didn't buy a bunch of, you know, the other exclusives that are on Stadia. But the third parties are doing really, really well. This is almost like the complete opposite of what happens with Nintendo. This is the complete opposite of Nintendo. On Nintendo platforms, the first party stuff does incredibly well, and the third party stuff just never comes nearly as close to matching that first party stuff. But on Stadia, it's the opposite. The first party stuff just never really caught on, and the third party stuff is what's doing so well. That's a really interesting catch. I never thought of that. Ross Malin, I don't know how to say your last name. Is it Malin or Milan? Malin, I think. Not sure how I messed up my blank super chat, but I believe they are going to use these saved resources money to entice third-party publishers. Yeah, I do think that. I do think that that's definitely a possibility. By not investing in making their own games, they can try and money hat games onto the platform. You know, oh, hey Blizzard, how about you port World of Warcraft to Stadia? Here's a pile of cash. You know, that kind of thing. I think that makes a lot of sense. Oh, I didn't know about Screech. Poor fella. He had a freaking awful life. Yeah, he's the same age that we are, Lloyd. Joel Mead says exclusives are overrated. Many of the greatest exclusive games only end up with 15 to 20% attach rates to their platform hardware. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Except for Nintendo. Nintendo has the best exclusives. Malin. Ross Malin. Okay, well, it was neither of the ways that I was trying to say it. The Hone, thank you very much for becoming a supporter. Right there. I know, Eric. Nintendo is Nintendo, though. I reached out to John Justice again recently, asking if he'd come on the show. I never heard back. Mike Lee, I disagree with you. I do think that exclusives do sell a platform big time. especially Nintendo. But let's take Nintendo out of the equation. There's a lot of people who go with, we'll say, PlayStation because of games like God of War, because of games like Spider-Man. They do sell platform a lot. However, when you don't have to have a box under your TV, it's much less enticing. You're not required to have that exclusive because people can just say, oh, well, Baldur's Gate 3, I can play it on PC or I can play it in the browser. I'm going to go ahead and play it in the browser because then I'm not stuck at this desk. I can play it over in that room downstairs. You know what I mean? I think that's a really enticing possibility. Kevin Gurn, welcome to the supporters. Thank you very much, Kevin. I appreciate the support. The music seems like it stopped for some reason or it got real quiet. There we go. The music got real quiet. Seth says, or I can use GeForce Now and have both. And while that's true, I have GeForce Now Founders. They've given me access to a Founders account on GeForce Now, and it works really well. Like, playing the games works exceedingly well. Launching the games and finding the games is a disaster. And knowing whether or not a game is on the platform is a disaster because the publishers are getting in NVIDIA's way, which is too bad because it works really, really well. It works, I would say, almost as good as Stadia, the big difference being the Wi-Fi controller. Nameless Ninja. He says, I think Stadia needs to take a page from Microsoft and be a little more transparent about the road ahead. Would lead to less uncertainty. I 100% agree with you. I think that they need to start talking about what they're doing. With this new information coming out, I do think that they need to talk about what their plans are. Grace from Google is responding in the Founders Hub. Okay. I'm going to try and bring that up. I don't even remember how to get there. I never go there. I think if I click that. No, that's not it. The Founders Hub. Press. There we go. Okay. And I can't see chat right now, everybody, so keep that in mind. All right, there's the Founders Hub. I don't see her response. Brandon, they are not shutting down Stadia. No, they are shutting down Stadia Games and Entertainment. They're shutting down their publishing arm. Tomorrow needs to be a huge positive blog. I 100% agree. It does need to be. They need to talk about good stuff. They shouldn't have made this announcement without explaining what was happening. New Gold Records. That's a really good point. Most of Stadia's games are not, thank you, Lloyd, are not published by Google anyway. How big of a difference is this going to make? I don't know. Here, let's see what Grace has to say. Grace says, hey there, everyone. I wanted to chime in with a response that I posted on Stadia's subreddit. Hi, everyone. I completely understand your emotions surrounding this news, so I wanted to chime in with a couple more thoughts. Please note that Stadia.com, Stadia Pro, and your games aren't going anywhere. In fact, we'll keep bringing more games to the platform and Stadia Pro. We had an exciting launch with Cyberpunk 2077 back in December, and the Stadia team is dedicated to bringing even more titles to the platform this year. So, I think that that's true. You know, I think that they are going to continue to bring stuff. They're just not making their own games. And, you know, what somebody in chat said, and I don't remember who because it went by so fast. It basically said most of the games aren't first party anyway. How big of a difference is this going to make? Honestly, I think that this is going to halt the momentum. It's going to slow down the momentum that Stadia has been building. But if they are then taking those resources and putting them towards either money-hatting third-party games onto the platform, or helping publishers bring their games by sending people there to help get their game running on Stadia, then it could be a net win. Also, if it means that you can play games from Stadia on Nintendo Switch, that could be a big deal. Yeah, Eric Lugo says Stadia have said that they have over 400 games in development, so I would assume they aren't going anywhere, hopefully. Right. And most of those games were not being made by SG&E. David Gibson says it feels like a significant shift in the roadmap. I agree with that. It does feel like a significant shift in the roadmap. And honestly, in my opinion, it feels too soon to have a significant shift in the roadmap. They should be following the plan that they started with. It takes a long time. Again, this sentence right here just makes me mad. Creating best-in-class games from the ground up takes many years and significant investments. Everybody knows that. Everybody knew that. You knew that coming into it. So honestly, why did you bother to try making your first-party games? You already knew it. It's not like it was a huge surprise. Hold on, I gotta check my email. I got another email. Oh, hey, Best Buy Top Deals. Thanks. I'm glad I got that email. Well, okay, so Jerome says all the YouTube videos that are going to come out, all the crap is going to start up again. Only if you watch those videos and respond to those videos. Don't watch or respond to those videos. Brandon Floyd. Brandon says, I don't know how they will compete with Microsoft, who's signing exclusive streaming deals to buy studios. They make supporting Stadia difficult. I can understand your frustration. I really can. I totally get your frustration. Yeah. But like Gray said, they're still bringing games. They had 400 games in the plan, not in the plan, in the pipeline for between now and 2023. 400 games. Those games are still going to come. Just no first-party games, which is weird. It's weird. Oh, that's not the right button. They probably... Wait. Oh, guess the whiteboard was accidentally erased by a custodian. This was the easiest way to go forward. Yeah. They had a magnet on it, and it said, do not erase. And, like, somebody knocked that magnet down, and the custodian came in, and they were like, I haven't erased this board in, like, 2-3 years. And now the do not erase thing is gone. I guess I have no choice but to clean the board. They sprayed it down and erased it, and superhero John Justice walked in and said, what the hell? I guess the main question will be how much of these acquisitions Microsoft and others have made continue will impact the industry as a whole. They're not shutting down Stadia, they're shutting down Stadia Games and Entertainment. Bill, are you optimistic? Do you believe Stadia will continue to provide its services for 1 to 2 years? Yes, I do. I do think that they will continue to do that for a couple of years, for a few years, for an extended period of time. I don't think Stadia is going anywhere. I think that we're going to buy games on... I think we're going to end up buying games on the Nintendo Switch that are running on Stadia. I think that we're going to buy games on our Xbox that's running on Stadia. I think we're going to buy games on our computer that's running on Stadia. Dr. Bald, yes, I do believe that this means that they're going to be working on bringing bigger third-party titles. Look, the whole reason that this happened is because I made a video about Luna, and Google was like, oh, that's it. We're done. I think I'm going to cancel my subscription to Luna. I really like that controller, but I'm not a fan of the subscription only model. David Gibson says, kiss goodbye to Gen 2. I don't agree with that at all. I think we're going to keep getting upgrades to the hardware. We've already had upgrades to the hardware. But Luna has Super Mega Baseball 3. Yeah, but so does my Switch. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Luna. I'm not a fan of Luna. Now, if Luna could buy games, I'd be much more interested, but I'm not. Arash R, though, they don't need to announce Gen 2. They've already upgraded the hardware. They're doing it bit by bit. Do I think Google will keep buying game studios? That's a really good question. I don't know. Like, what's the point of buying a game studio when you could just pay a game studio to bring their game to your platform? Yes, Cyberpunk is still full of bugs. Matsuke, I don't think Luna sucks. I think the business model sucks. Totolop, this is not a clickbait title. They are shutting down Stadia Games and Entertainment. Read the link in the description. Yeah, I can't see them buying any more purchases. Why buy it when you can just say, here's some money, go ahead and here's some money. Go ahead and port your game over. We'll send people to help. Well, here's the thing, though. When it comes to first-party titles and exclusives and stuff like that, it doesn't matter as much when you're talking about a cloud-based system. When you're talking about a multi-$100 box that you got to buy and put underneath your TV, that matters a lot. That really does matter a lot. But when you're talking about a thing that you can just play for free, you don't have to sell people on it. Steven Wilson, you don't need to do all caps, man. Relax. It's okay. Ricky Edwards says, I'm worried about what Hailstorm may be right now. Whenever I worry about something, I ask myself a question. Can I do anything about it? If I can do something about it, then I do something about it and stop worrying. If I can't do something about it, then I can't do anything about it. So why worry? Hey guys, there's 400, there's almost 500 people here. If you guys could click that like button, that'd be awesome. John Montgomery is correct. So they won't be publishing games anymore, but they will still have studios that make their own games. Yes, absolutely. Adrian Roberts did a super chat. They said, oh my gosh, it's happening quick here. Hold on. I already read that one. Tom Cassidy. It'd be interesting to see if instead of downloading games on other platforms, they just stream from Stadia. What would that mean for Stadia owners? Well, I think that would mean that you would be able to play that game on another platform. Maybe. That's an interesting thought. Like, let's say that they port Division 2 to the Nintendo Switch. Can I play it on the Nintendo Switch if I bought it on Stadia? That's an interesting question, Tom Cassie. I don't know the answer to that. That's very interesting. Thank you for the support. Adrian Roberts says, hey, Bill, love the show. Do you think any innovation Google could have brought cloud native game is dead now? I don't think it's dead. I think it's going to take longer. It's much harder to convince a third-party studio to really invest in platform-exclusive features. I'm going to give you a perfect example. Where is it? Right here. Look at this controller right here. It's dusty because I never use it. This is the DualShock 4. It has the cool touchpad in the front. It's got gyroscope stuff. None of that stuff gets used in 90% of the games, other than they turn this into a giant button. None of that stuff gets used in third-party games. Why? Because they're going to be making the same game on Xbox, and they won't have those features, so why bother implementing those features on PlayStation? So the likelihood of cloud native as a thing, I still think it'll happen, but it's going to take longer because Stadia isn't doing it themselves. Thank you very much for the contribution. Nameless Ninja. I don't know how we would ever know he's here. He sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you very much for that. They said, I think you do have to sell them on it if it's different from what they know, especially the narrative online has been negative. Well, that's why when like Cyberpunk 2077 was so important. It showed people that it works. The more that Google keeps doing these demos, the more people are going to get used to cloud gaming. They have shown that cloud gaming works. They absolutely have. They've shown that it works. And now we know. And knowing is half the battle. Go, Joe. Thank you very much for that, Nameless Ninja. Chelf, who is a very cheery elf, I guess, sent in a super chat. They said, this news really sucks. Really does. I think this is the right way for Stadia to go in. It's possible. It's possible that this is the right way to go. We only have half the information. We only have the information that they are shutting down their first-party studios. We don't have the information with what's going on with the partners that they mentioned in that blog post. Yeah, see the link in the description. Do Google own any studios? They own a couple studios. They own Typhoon Studios, something else I can't remember, and they have 3 studios that are all under the SG&E umbrella. Yeah, I'm wondering what happens with... I'm sure that the people from Typhoon Studios are now part of SG&E, and now they're going to be doing that job there. It seemed like they were saying these people have safe jobs, except for Jade Raymond, who is going someplace else, either because she quit or because they fired her. And we will never know. And it's none of our business whether she quit or they fired her. They can embed Stadia in the next-gen 4K HDR TVs and include some free games that are popular. It'll take off. I still think Stadia will take off. It's just going to take a long time, and I'm willing to be patient. I'm a patient guy. David Gibson, I disagree. I don't think that it's them taking a big step back from gaming. So Hussein is mentioning something that was in the blog post today. He said, beyond any near-term planned games, does this mean they will release their planned games? I think it means that they will release some of their planned games. Like any games that were going to be released in 2021 that are close to being done, it doesn't make a lot of sense for them to just throw all that in the trash. I think that stuff will come. However, games that were 2022 and beyond will probably be scuttled, or they will, if they're not cloud native games, then they will put those out on Stadia and port them to other platforms. You know, Dan, I think you're a little long. I think maybe a little bit less than that. Brian Fernald says, I feel like this is them realizing the games that they were developing just didn't meet the standards of what the gaming community was looking for and were not being met. That's a possibility. You know, that's absolutely a possibility. They may have looked at the games and said, these are not good enough. And we're not willing to continue throwing good money after bad, so we're going to cancel these games. That's a possibility. Look at Amazon. Amazon got into this, and they have been struggling. Like, they have had a hard time trying to get their first-party stuff out. Is music levels okay? Just making sure. Deep cookie breaths. Cookie? Well, that's the thing, Brian, that they hired seasoned pros to do their video game development. Brian H88, they're not shutting down Stadia. They're shutting down Stadia Games and Entertainment. Joel Mead. Joel Grabinski, get ready, man. It's going to be headline after headline after headline. There's going to be hundreds of YouTube videos from people saying that Stadia is dead. But you read the article yourself, so you know the truth. That they're just shutting down their first-party publishers. That's it. That's what's actually happening. Because you read the article. But there's going to be lots of people out there that didn't read the article. They're going to read the headline. They're going to see the YouTube videos. That's why you want to make sure that, hey, if somebody says, hey, Stadia's dead, tell them to check out our channel. We'll talk about it. Oh, Dan Swain, that's a good point. They should have made this announcement and then said, oh, and by the way, here's Madden and FIFA. Yeah, SK Gamer's right. They've been saying Stadia's dead forever. Thank you very much, Two Dorks TV. Or Two Dorks, sorry. What's going on, Steven? By the way, I don't know if you guys are interested or not, but I have a podcast called 143 Pixels, and season 4, 3, 4. The new season will be coming soon. See, here's the thing, Addie Madison. You guys keep talking about how he's going to have a field day. Stop paying attention to what he says. If you don't agree with what he's talking about, don't go listen to him. Bernard Baker sent in a super chat. Thank you very much, Bernard, for the support. He says, Bill, what type of announcement do you believe Google would need to happen next in order to hopefully counter the negative response from this announcement? Okay. I'm not going to say what I think is going to happen because I don't know what's going to happen. But here's what would be great. Is if they said, oh, by the way, Rocket League, Fortnite are all coming to Stadia. And the Nintendo Switch version of Fortnite will be you'll have an option to do a cloud version of that running through Stadia so that you can have 60 frames per second instead of 30 frames per second on Nintendo. Like that kind of thing would be amazing. I think that would be really good. I think Stadia will transition to becoming something like Epic Games, offering Unreal Engine to other developers to make stuff on their own. That's exactly what I've been saying for the last hour. I can't believe that 400 and some people are hanging out with me for an hour. You guys are awesome. I have to say this. You know, I am very lucky that people come and hang out with me to talk about video games. Like one of my favorite things in the world is talking about video games. I think I like talking about video games more than I like playing video games. And the fact that you guys show up when I hit the go live button is absolutely amazing. So thank you very much for that. Preston Casey, I'd seen hypothesize this idea that the purpose behind Stadia Games and Entertainment initially was to signal to the development community their seriousness about the platform. I mean, that's a possibility, and maybe they have enough third parties that are interested in bringing games to Stadia that they don't need to make their own first-party games. In fact, say what you want about Stadia shutting down Stadia Games and Entertainment. But think of this. The idea that you can make a game and then sell it to people who do not have an Xbox or a PlayStation or a Switch or a beefy computer is a very, very interesting and enticing proposition to a developer or a publisher that wildly expands the gaming market. So maybe they have so many third-party publishers that are interested in bringing games to Stadia that they said, you know what? We don't need to waste our money on this. We can just have somebody else make the games. Jay Dangle sent in a super sticker of a penguin dropping the mic. Thank you very much for that. Anabai Lee sent in a super sticker of a fist bump. Thank you very much for that. Abunai Lee. It is sad to see Jade Raymond go, though. I do agree with that. Jade Raymond, I was very excited to see what she was going to bring to the platform. Youssef Zekri, is this Project Hailstorm? I don't know. It's very interesting. You spelled that wrong, and that's why I got moderated. You had a typo there. All right, let's see what Tom Cassidy sent in a super chat. They said, imagine if PlayStation and Xbox just streamed games from Stadia. I said that like an hour ago. I think it's a possibility. I think that is a possibility. Like, I've used xCloud. It's not as good as Stadia. It's just not. What if Stadia and Xbox partnered up? That would be very compelling, wouldn't it? Same thing with PlayStation. I think that would be very interesting. You can buy your games on Xbox, and when you're not at home, you can play them on your phone. And sure, Microsoft can do that themselves, but I've played xCloud. It doesn't work as well as Stadia does. Okay, I haven't tried PlayStation Now because I'm just not interested. Most of their games are pretty old. I think I've used GeForce Now. I've used Shadow. I've used Stadia. I've used Luna. The one that feels the best is Stadia, in my opinion. Matt says, I enjoyed this, Bill. Love your content, but it's late here, and I got to get some Madden in. A lot of sense. All right, see you later. Sorry, I'm looking up Erin Hoffman, John, to see what her tweet is. So Erin Hoffman, John, she works in R&D at Stadia. She says, yes, my team is affected. Yes, we will be okay. Yes, we appreciate your offers of new opportunities. Yes, it will take a while to sift through all of these messages. Yes, I still believe we love you all. On the flip side, my odds of finishing Hades now have gone up substantially. Oh, man. That sounds like she's not there anymore. That's sad. She was awesome. I liked hearing what she had to say. Yu Yoon Kim says xCloud has terrible input lag compared to Stadia, at least for me. I don't know if it's terrible, but it was definitely more. I'm very forgiving when it comes to input lag. I just don't notice it very much. But xCloud was like limited super to only Android devices, and that was it. Like, you can't even play in a browser. Well, Crow Resin, Outcasters is just that's just a port. It's an exclusive port. They didn't make that game. Brady Allen asks a very interesting question, to which I do not know the answer. Could any of this be related to antitrust issues? No clue. Possibly. Google's constantly getting sued for antitrust stuff over in Europe, so it's definitely a possibility that has happened. It's definitely a possibility. Yeah, I know that xCloud is coming to PC in the app, and that's all fine, but I just want it to be in a browser so that I can I can launch it on a Chromebook. I can launch it on my iPad. I can play it on my phone. You currently can't play it on a TV. Astro 10,024 says creating the best. He's given me the quote. Yeah, I know. We read that quote. That quote makes me mad. Did I see Alex Hutchinson's tweet? No, I tend not to really care what that guy tweets because he tweets dumb stuff. But I'll look. He tweeted about sneakers, it looks like. I don't know. Two hours ago. Savage Planet Employee of the Month edition is out today on Stadia. What a crazy coincidence. What a time to be alive. I don't get it. Those are weird shoes. What the hell is up with these shoes? I'm sorry. We're going to stop the show for a second so we can look at these weird shoes. Look at these things. What is that nonsense? What is this? Are these Marty McFly's shoes? Look at these things. I'm dumbfounded. I cannot believe my eyes. Look at these shoes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Shoecast, where we're going to talk about nothing but these. What the hell are they called? The Fly Ease shoes of the future. They feel like you're walking on a cloud. Oh my God. They do look really cool. Yeah, I already do that with my shoes. That's how I take my shoes off. I untie them first, though. The money saved on games, I'm not going to have to buy games anymore because I'm just going to be able to buy shoes. Astro Josh, there's no laces. That's right. Those are shoes have a plus 10 in athletics. 10's a lot. Yeah, he's a creative director of one of the studios, but man, I ignore anything that he says. That's the guy that was like, streamers need to pay licensing fees to play video games. Karate Guy Joe, you still can ditch PCs altogether. You can. I still think that Stadia is going to be around. They're just not going to make their own games. That's the thing. That's the thing to take away here is that Stadia will still be around. They're just not making their own games. Mitch C says, do you think we'll hear some positive news at some point this week? You would think if they were going to share some positive news, they would have shared it along with this bombshell. Or maybe they want to give it a little separation. So they've got the bombshell, and then they're like, here's the good news to blanket it. Yeah, that was that guy. What just happened? Well, we were looking at these shoes. Let me bring them back up for you, because you got to see these shoes. Oh, man, I didn't mean to do that. Here's the shoes right here. Look at these shoes. This is what we're talking about today. This is our main topic. I really like the way these look. I wonder how much they cost. How much do you guys think these cost? Do not look it up. Don't look it up. How much do you think these cost? I'm going to guess $300. $300 is how much these shoes are going to cost. I'm just guessing. I'm going to look it up now. Nike Fly Ease. How much do they cost? Okay. Wait, is this a... Yeah, that's the Fly Ease. $200. Wait, that has a zipper on it? I had shoes with zippers when I was a kid. These aren't the ones. Where's the ones that we were looking at? The robot ones. Are these the robot ones? I don't know. Back to video games. That's the wrong model? All right. Yeah, I got it wrong. I don't know how much it is. Somebody can look it up. I'm not going to look it up. What's going to happen to Outcasters if Stadia Games and Entertainment is no more? So Stadia Games and Entertainment was the publisher of that game. They were not the developers of that game. The developers of that game was... I can't remember. It wasn't Stadia Games and Entertainment. They're shutting down their developing house, not their... They'll probably just be published by somebody else. Splash Damage. Thank you very much, Kessel Runner. I like that name. That's a good name. Hello. What? I was streaming. Why? Oh, okay. No, it wasn't Typhoon Studios. It was Splash Damage. Daryl Smock Jr. Yeah, in fact, I think that the reason that they're doing this is because they've got so many third-party games. Can only do so much. I don't think that that's true that we won't ever have cloud-native games. I think it's less like... I think it's going to take longer. Alexander G, how much are they? Stupid Rabbit, I agree. It does look bad. This is going to hurt momentum, and it's going to very much be bad PR. They're 120? Really? All right, I thought that they'd be way more expensive. David Caldera, will Outcasters still get developer support? Of course it will. Splash Damage isn't going anywhere. The publisher is no longer going to be publishing games. Maybe you covered this, but what are they doing with those studios that they bought? My guess is they're shutting them down and like having those people do other things. Do you guys see Among Us coming to Stadia in the future? I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, that game can easily run on any platform, you know? Like, it's already on every phone. You could easily make a version of that that just runs in the browser anyway. Brandon Perry, I said things like that earlier, actually. Elvin, what do I think this announcement means for Project Hailstorm? I don't think it means anything for Project Hailstorm. This announcement being made today doesn't mean that this decision was made today. This decision was probably made quite a long time ago. Yeah, Yak42. They're shutting down Stadia Games and Entertainment. They're shutting down their development studios. They're not shutting down Stadia. Eric says, "Why would we trust you? I didn't ask you to trust me. Did I ask you to trust me? If I did, whatever. I mean, you trust who you want, man." The Google graveyard fears, I wouldn't... Listen, here, this is what I have to say about that. Whenever I worry about something, I ask myself a question. Can I do anything about it? If I can do something about it, then I do something about it and stop worrying. If I can't do something about it, then I can't do anything about it. So why worry? There you go. Hey there, Jamie. Welcome. You trust Morgan Freeman? Yeah, I trust Morgan Freeman too. That wasn't it me? Fair enough. I recorded that earlier. I recorded that right now. I recorded that right now. I recorded that right now. See? I got a little button right here. I can record anything. Benny1, there is a link in the description that will give you all of the information, but the long and short of it is that Google is going to stop making their own games. Chelf, I 100% agree. The Google graveyard is nonsense. It's a paper tiger argument. Can only do so much. How am I feeling about this? I'm not happy about it, but I don't think it's the end of the world. All right. Well, everybody, thank you very much for hanging out with me. I'm going to get out of here. It was awesome to hang out with almost 500 people while we talked about this. If you are new here, make sure you click on the subscribe button, turn on all of the notifications because it really does help, and like the show, hit the little like button because that does help. I do appreciate all of the people who used their super chats and became members today. There were a whole bunch of them. I can't read through everybody right now, but thank you very much. And we will continue to bring you all kinds of gaming content, including mainly Stadia content. We're going to continue to keep bringing you Stadia content in the future. So stick around because we've got a whole bunch more awesome stuff coming your way. Thanks for watching and hanging out. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for joining the Nerd Nest.